Okay, so in this section, now that we're logged in, we will learn how to actually post a recipe being logged in, and then we will learn how to index this recipe into our full text search engine. Okay, so into the search API that Google App Engine provides, and this allows us to have full text functionality. So full text is what Google does all the time. So if I search for App Engine, well, it goes ahead and runs a full text search on its entire index, which contains billions of pages, and it catches where we have the words that we have put in, and then tries to figure out which of these results are the most relevant to our search query. And according to the relevancy of these results, it will present them, it will order them by relevancy. So the most relevant documents, they're called documents. So each item is called a document. So the documents are ordered in descending order of relevancy. So we will learn how to index these recipes and then search for them in our index. So this is something that really cannot be done too well if you're using just a simple database like MySQL, because MySQL, although it has some kind of functionality of full text, it's not really that sophisticated, and it certainly doesn't scale well. So once you have a lot of documents in your database, well, the full text search in MySQL can become, a really hard thing to manage and to actually, maintain. So that's why it's always better to use a full text search engine, such as the search API in the case of Google App Engine. And if you wouldn't be using Google App Engine, you would have to look to implement something like a Lucene Solar, which is a complete, standalone search engine. But the problem with that is that you have to actually go ahead and install it, configure it. And if you were to actually want to scale the whole system, then you would have to also configure it so that it works well with multiple machines running the same kind of search queries. And possibly you would have to also shard your index, and so it gets really complicated. But with the search API, it's really simple, because we just have to, save the documents into our index, and the search API in the background goes ahead and does everything it needs to do for the service to be scalable. And the same thing when we search our index. So when we do a search, well, it knows what it needs to do so that these searches are scalable and they perform well. Okay, but before we actually go ahead and can implement our search engine, we first need to implement a couple of pages. So here in our account, we need to implement a button which will allow us to post a new recipe. And once we click this button, we need to go to the page that creates a new recipe. And once the user has filled in all of the information regarding a recipe, we can actually go ahead and save it to our DataStore, and in parallel put it into our index, into our search index. Okay, so we need to do these two steps before we can actually implement the search functionality. Okay, so let's get right to it.